So, hey, friend, over the years, I have made a lot of Christmas and wintertime videos about the Tudors, about how they marked the season, what they ate, what they sang, and what Christmas felt like in England 500 years ago. And this video is going to bring all of that together in one place so you can settle in and listen without hopping around on the channel. So it is Christmas Eve, and I'm doing what most people are doing today, stepping away from the desk and spending time with family. So instead of doing something new, I've decided to gather all of these Christmas videos together in one place. If you've been around for a while, some of this will be familiar. You may have seen it before. If you're newer here, it's a good way to go back and dip into how the Tudors experienced the season themselves. These are stories I tend to return to every December, how Christmas was celebrated, how long it lasted, what people ate, all of that. You don't need to listen straight through, of course. Let it play while you cook or decorate or travel or sit quietly by the fire. I will be back with new videos again very soon. I hope this keeps you good company on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I wish you a very, very happy Christmas. Thank you for being here and spending this time with me. And as always, don't forget to drink your water, my friend. Look at this. I have this really cool Christmas tumbler. I got it at Lidl. I really like it. Anyway, festive. So don't forget to drink your water. Have a wonderful, magical Christmas day if you're celebrating, and I'll be back with new content very soon. Bye-bye. Hello, and welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather, and I have been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009, the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel is where I put all of my episodes from all of my different shows, as well as loads of extra content like this video right here. You guys, it's time to start talking about the holidays. Now, it might seem early. I, for one, love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite holiday, and you will note that I still have the autumnal vibe happening here. I have not done anything crazy yet, like put up Christmas decorations. I don't do that until the weekend after Thanksgiving. I've still got the pumpkin spice lotion, right? I got the pumpkin spice lip gloss, pumpkin spice hand sanitizer. I'm still pumpkin spice. However, I am going to start throwing in some holiday sprinkles, as it were, because I am going to whet your appetite for some special holiday stuff that I'm going to have going on in December. That is vague, I know. It's intended to be like that. It's to get you interested. So we are going to start talking about holiday stuff this week, just to kind of set the mood to get us interested. If you would like more Tudor history in your YouTube feed, holiday or not, go ahead and hit subscribe so you never miss a video that I put out. So today we are going to talk about some surprising Tudor holiday Christmas customs that you might not know about, some of which are still with us today. So the Tudors had customs that were lively, rowdy, packed with meaning, many of which you won't find at your typical holiday gathering today, some of which you might. Christmas in Tudor times was more than just a day of feasting. It was a whole season packed with festivities stretching all the way from Advent to Twelfth Night. This wasn't just about celebrating the birth of Christ. It was a time to honor community, express gratitude, and even indulge in a little bit of mischief. So let's take a closer look at 5 surprising Tudor Christmas customs, from riotous wassailing to the antics of the Lord of Misrule. So you might have heard the carol Here We Come A-Wassailing, which also then is sung sometimes as Here We Come A-Caroling. Wassailing is a tradition that's more than just caroling. It was a Tudor-style blend of singing, drinking, and a touch of blessing, all rolled into one lively celebration. During wassailing, groups of people would visit homes, singing songs and toasting to the health of each household. And it wasn't just homes that they visited. Wassailers also headed out to the orchards. There they would bless the apple trees, singing to branches, and even pouring a little bit of wassail, which is, this drink like a cider, onto the roots to ensure a bountiful harvest next year. At the center of the tradition was the wassail bowl, a communal drink of spiced cider or ale, often shared by everyone. Imagine the smell of wassail, infused, if they could, with spices like the ones we know today: cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, being passed from one hand to the next. For the Tudors, this wasn't just a drink, it was a shared moment of goodwill, a way to bring warmth and laughter to the darkest days of winter. Wassailing was traditionally done on Twelfth Night, so at the end of the 12 days of Christmas. One fun fact: the word wassail is actually believed to come from the Old Anglo-Saxon toast wes hail, meaning be well or be in good health. The whole blessing the orchards part of wassailing actually still occurs today in many cider producing parts of England. I saw one place, Michelin Priory, actually still does this procession to the orchard. Also, this custom, which of course is pagan in its history, is still practiced in Woodstock, Vermont. Then we also have the Lord of Misrule. This is one that I love. During the 12 days of Christmas, this mock king was chosen to lead the festivities, stirring up laughter and turning the usual social order upside down. It was kind of like a Tudor-style opposite day. The Lord of Misrule would encourage people to let loose, playing pranks, organizing games, even convincing the most dignified guests to join in the fun. It was a rare moment when servants would swap roles with nobility, all in the name of good-natured mischief. With the Lord of Misrule in charge, even the most proper nobles found themselves part of the revelry, blurring the lines between class and decorum. It was a time to throw off the usual restraints and laugh a little louder. So this tradition actually started, it was known as the Bean King. And I thought, when I first read about this, I thought it was really interesting because in Spain, they celebrate King's Day, which is actually even bigger than Christmas, on the 6th. And you eat these king's rings. When we were living there, we would get a king's ring. And the really cool thing about the king's ring is baked inside, there are these kind of dried beans, right? And whoever gets the bean in their piece is supposed to have special luck for the year, right? It's like a good luck thing. So the Bean King was what they did in medieval England. It actually started during the reign of Edward II and Edward III, where whoever got the bean then became like the king, and they called it the Bean King for the 12 days of Christmas. And then Henry VII actually revived the tradition with the Lord of Misrule, is what they called it. And typically it would be a servant or a very minor court official. And they would rule for the entire 12 days, which I think is amazing. It's kind of like my daughter really wants for her birthday a yes day. I'm a little hesitant. Have you guys ever done a yes day for your kids? It's this thing where, like, for the day you say yes to everything, and there's like parameters in advance, like you have a budget, and there's things like you can't get a dog, for example, or anything that's going to have lasting effects beyond the one day. There was a movie on Netflix, I think, Yes Day, and started like this whole thing. So now all the kids want a yes day for their birthday. So that got sidetracked really quick, but it reminds me of the whole Lord of Misrule. And I'm curious if you've ever done a yes day, because if you have, I would love to know about it, and I would love to know how it went. I'm a little hesitant, but I could be persuaded. All right, next one. Next, we have the greenery. As Christmas approached, Tudor homes and halls were transformed into lush winter forests. Holly, ivy, and mistletoe were gathered and used to decorate every corner, filling the space with fresh earthly fragrance. Now, one thing, they wouldn't have decorated as early as we might today. During Advent, that was a time of fasting and of reflection and thinking about salvation and all of that. But then after Christmas Eve, they would go out into the forest and gather all of this stuff and get their house decorated for the 12 days of Christmas that would start on Christmas Day. These weren't just pretty decorations. Each plant had its own special meaning. Again, this comes, like so many things, from the ancient pagan and Celtic traditions. Holly, with its glossy green leaves and bright red berries, was thought to symbolize eternal life. Ivy represented loyalty and fidelity, and mistletoe was more than just a reason to kiss. Tudors believed that mistletoe could protect against evil spirits, making it a staple in their holiday decor. There's some really interesting stories about how mistletoe got its uh, association with kissing. There's stories of during wars where people would have a truce when there was mistletoe blooming. And there's a lot of really cool stories about that, which we will get into at a later date. For now, we're just doing this little overview. The entire effect was to make the inside feel alive and fragrant, bringing the outdoors inside during the darkest days of winter. One of the most striking and symbolic traditions of the Tudor Christmas feast was the boar's head procession. This wasn't just any dish, it was a ceremonial centerpiece carried into the hall with great fanfare and a sense of ritual. You see these pictures of these processions with the boar's head being carried. It's like a parade carrying the boar's head, which is a little bit morbid, but also kind of cool. Not sure. The boar's head was decorated with fruits and with herbs and berries, symbolizing strength and courage. We still sing the boar's head carol today. I mean, I don't know how many of you sing it. I still sing the boar's head carol. Musicians would play as the head was carried in. Guests would join in singing these special carols just for the occasion. This wasn't just about eating. This was a pageant of sight and sound and tradition. With trumpets sounding and carols ringing out, the boar's head procession was a moment of grandeur, a reminder of strength and resilience that the Tudors admired. And finally for today, speaking of the boar's head carol, we can't forget about caroling, though it was a little bit different in Tudor times. Today, when we think about caroling, we think about Christmas carols. But carols traditionally were any song that was sung to tell a story. The first carol that we have is the Agincourt Carol, which tells the story of the Battle of Agincourt. So it wasn't just specifically for Christmas. Tudor holiday carols would be all about all of the different aspects of the season, the feasting, the drinking, and the joys of getting cozy by the fire. People would go from house to house, or they would just sit around the fireplace and sing these songs, these traditional songs. Some of them we still know. I did an episode a couple of years ago on Tudor Christmas carols that we still sing today. Some of them are still quite famous. One of the things I love about music, you guys, I'm going to, again, get a tangent going on here, but that's just what I do. The thing I love about early music and why I listen to early music, why I sing early music, is it's this magical way of connecting to people. I used to go, when I lived in London, I used to go to evensong service at Westminster Abbey almost every week. If you are visiting London, you can totally go to evensong service. You can't walk around and look at all of the stuff and look at all of the graves and all of that. You just go in for service. But it's free. And if you get there early enough, you can sit in the choir. So I would go in and sit in the choir. And it was this amazing feeling of, looking up at the kind of dais where the chair was, where all of the kings and queens have been crowned since time immemorial, and thinking about these pieces when they would sing Gibbons or Byrd, and thinking Henry VIII might have been right here listening to this, and I would look up at the little dark areas and the windows and I would think it's like I'm really there. It's like he's really here next to me. And the only thing that separates us is time. We're sharing the same experience. We're looking at the same stuff. We're basically having the same experience. And it was almost like he was right there. Like I was right there in Tudor England. And it's really gives me goosebumps. I have goosebumps. But Tudor Christmas carols, a lot of these carols, and I'll link to the episode I did on them. We still sing them today. It's such a human thing that we do, where we just want to sing out in joy and in sorrow. And yeah, I'm listening to Christmas music right now. Holiday Pops on Sirius XM. I love it when they release all their holiday stations on November 1st. Makes me so happy. Right, so Tudor caroling wasn't just about the music, though. It was about creating warmth and cheer, a way to make the cold winter nights feel alive and full of celebration. There is a theme that we're seeing here, right? In the dark of winter, trying to bring some joy and laughter and light back into the world. There are a lot more Christmas Tudor traditions that we are going to start talking about. Gift giving, the kissing bow, the mince pies, the Yule log, the original Tudor turducken. We're going to cover all of them. And I'm going to tell you over the next week or two about a way that you can dive into the Tudor holidays with me this holiday season and really experience a Tudor holiday yourself. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video and made it to the end, I sure would appreciate a press that like button. It helps feed the algorithm and get our content to even more people. I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out videos like this on the regular. Remember, you are deeply loved. I am so glad I share the planet with you. Don't forget to drink your water. All right, friend, I will be back soon. Bye-bye. Hey friends, welcome to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. If you are new here, very warm welcome to you. I am your host, Heather Tesco. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009, making my show almost 15 years old, which is on this channel, I put all of my episodes of all of my shows, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. Today we are talking about Tudor Christmas traditions. How did our Tudor friends celebrate Christmas? I looked back through my podcast episodes. I did my first Tudor Christmas traditions episode. It was in January of 2010, and I made a point to say that I wasn't late because we were still within the 12 days of Christmas. So it would have been Christmas 2009, early 2010, that I did my first episode on Tudor Christmas, and I've gone back and revisited it a bit from time to time, especially with the music, which of course is my passion. For Tudor England is the music of the period. So in this video, in this episode, we're just going to talk about all of the different Tudor Christmas traditions, the food, the decorations, the customs, as well as how people saw it and the things that people wrote about it. So let's get right into it. In the tapestry of English history, the Tudor era stands out for its unique blend of grandeur and tradition, especially during the festive season. Tudor Christmases celebrated with an intensity and zeal that rival even our own modern festivities, were times of profound religious observance, interwoven with hearty communal merriment. This video, we will peel back the layers of time to explore the deeper and less commonly known aspects of Tudor Christmas traditions. The Advent season in Tudor England was marked by more than the austerity of fasting. It was a time rich with rituals and preparations for the coming Yuletide. For the devout, Advent was a period of spiritual contemplation and anticipation leading up to the celebration of Christ's birth. Churches were adorned with evergreens, symbolizing eternal life, and the air resonated with the daily Advent prayers and hymns, setting a tone of expectant reverence. In the households, both noble and common preparations for Christmas began in earnest. The nobility engaged in elaborate planning for feasts and entertainments, commissioning special attire and decorations to showcase their wealth and status. In stark contrast, common people busied themselves with more modest preparations. Homes were tidied and decorated with holly and ivy, while kitchens bustled with the making of mince pies. This dichotomy in preparations not only highlighted the social stratification of Tudor society, but also underscored the universal appeal of the holiday, with each stratum adding its own unique flavor to the Christmas celebrations. The Feast of Fools was a celebration that turned social order on its head. It had its roots in the Saturnalia tradition of ancient Rome. Interestingly, it was Polydore Virgil, from whom we get much of our information of the early Tudor period. He was Italian and he was living in London and he was writing a lot about what was happening in England. And he was the first one to note down in writing that many of the Tudor Christmas traditions had their roots in ancient pagan customs and traditions. And he specifically brought up Saturnalia and the Lord of Misrule. The Lord of Misrule was a figure who epitomized the topsy-turvy nature of the season. Selected from among the commoners or the lower ranks of the court, the Lord of Misrule was a temporary master of revelries, overseeing a period where normal rules were upended and mirth reigned supreme. The selection process for the Lord of Misrule was a delicate balance of humor and respect. He was often charismatic, capable of navigating the fine line between irreverence and decorum. Once chosen, his reign extended from the start of the 12 days of Christmas until Twelfth Night. During this time, he organized various entertainments, masquerades, and plays, often participating in the merriment himself. Accounts of specific lords of misrule, such as those serving under Henry VIII, highlight their ability to orchestrate grand festivities while maintaining the goodwill of both nobles and commoners. The role was not merely one of jest, it was a subtle commentary on the social and political order cloaked under the guise of festivity. The Feast of Fools thus was more than revelry, it was a nuanced tradition that allowed for a temporary but significant reimagining of societal roles. The culinary landscape of Tudor Christmas was a rich tapestry woven with exotic flavors and innovative cooking techniques. The feasts were not just meals, they were extravagant displays of wealth and power, featuring an array of dishes that tantalized the taste buds and awed the senses. Exotic ingredients played a starring role, with spices like saffron, cloves, and nutmeg, once as precious as gold, being liberally used to flavor the dishes. Sugar, an expensive commodity, was often used to create intricate sculptures known as subtleties. These edible works of art, crafted to resemble castles, ships, or biblical scenes, were not only a testament to the cook's skills, but a symbol of the host's affluence. Meat, a sign of luxury, dominated the Tudor Christmas table, with dishes like boar's head, swan, and peacock being highly prized. These meats were often prepared using complex techniques, including spit roasting and baking in pastry. The presentation was key, and meats were frequently served with elaborate garnishes or in rich, spiced sauces to enhance their flavor. Pie was also a centerpiece of Tudor Christmas cuisine. The Christmas pie, a precursor to modern mince pie, was a large, multi-layered creation filled with various meats, fruits, and spices. The art of pie making was held in high regard, and the more intricate the pie, the more prestigious the feast. Fish, too, especially on days of religious observance like Christmas Eve, was served in abundance. Dishes like pike in galantine sauce, flavored with vinegar and spices, were popular among those who could afford them. The culmination of the feasts often included sweet treats like marzipan, gingerbread, and fruit cakes, all spiced and decorated to reflect the festive spirit. The combination of exotic ingredients, sophisticated cooking techniques, and artistic presentation made Tudor Christmas cuisine a true feast for the senses. Music and dance were central to the celebration of Christmas in Tudor England, adding a layer of joy and splendor to the festivities. The period saw a blossoming of musical innovation, with unique instruments and compositions becoming integral to Yuletide celebrations. The lute, virginals, and recorder were among the popular instruments of the time. Dance was equally important, with the pavane and the galliard being popular among the nobility. These dances were characterized by their elegant and stately movements, often performed in the grand halls of Tudor homes. Plays and masques were also a common feature of the Tudor Christmas entertainment. Theatrical performances, blending music, dance, and drama, they often told stories with moral or religious themes reflective of the season's spirit. The art of decorating homes and churches during Christmas in Tudor England was steeped in symbolism, extending far beyond the familiar holly and ivy. Decorations were not merely festive, they were imbued with meaning and intent. Mistletoe, revered by the Druids, was used for its symbolic representation of peace and joy. The practice of kissing under the mistletoe perhaps owes its origins to this era, symbolizing friendship and goodwill. Laurel and rosemary were also commonly used, both for their pleasant scents and their associations with remembrance and celebration. Bay laurel, in particular, was often fashioned into garlands and wreaths, adorning halls and doors as symbols of victory and joy. The influence of royal preferences on Christmas decor was significant. When monarchs like Henry VIII adorned their palaces with lavish decorations, these trends quickly trickled down into the nobility and eventually the common people. Rich tapestries, often depicting nativity scenes or winter landscapes, adorned the walls of royal residences, setting a precedent for the use of intricate wall hangings during the festive season. Colors, too, played a crucial role, with red, green, and gold being predominant in Tudor Christmas decorations. Red symbolized the blood of Christ, green denoting eternal life. Those were common themes, while gold represented both the wealth of the season and the light of Christ. Twelfth Night, marking an end of the Christmas season, was a time of joyous celebration and unique customs in Tudor England. This night, commemorating the arrival of the Magi, was filled with games, feasting, and merriment. One popular game, especially later in the Tudor period, was Snapdragon, where raisins were plucked from a bowl of burning brandy, symbolizing the stealing of the fruits of the new year from the fiery dragon. The King of the Bean was another Twelfth Night tradition, where a bean was baked into a cake, and the person who found it in their slice became king for the evening, leading the festivities. Similarly, a pea was hidden in the cake for the women, and the finder would be crowned queen of the pea. This ritual embodied the spirit of social inversion, a common theme during Christmas celebrations. Interestingly, I lived in Spain for 7 years, and they still do the king's ring, where there's special beans baked into the ring, and you have that on King's Day on the 6th of January. So that still lives on today, which I think is super fun. We have a lot of this information from primary sources. Of course, the household books of Henry VIII, for instance, are windows into the royal celebrations. They detail the extravagant expenditures on feasts, showcasing an array of delicacies and the grandeur of the royal table. They speak of a king who spared no expense in celebrating Christmas, from lavish banquets to generous gift-giving, painting a picture of a court where the festive spirit was enshrined in opulence. William Shakespeare, though not a chronicler in the traditional sense, offers a glimpse into the zeitgeist of the Tudor Christmas through his plays. His references to Christmas in works like Hamlet and Twelfth Night encapsulate the contemporary attitudes towards the holiday. These passages, while poetic, mirror the customs and beliefs of the time, subtly weaving the essence of Tudor Christmas into the fabric of the narratives. And then there's the accounts of visitors who provide an outsider's perspective, like Virgil, who I talked about. In his writings, Virgil describes the Christmases he witnessed at the English court with a sense of wonder and sometimes bewilderment. He recounts the magnificent feasts, the intricate decorations, and the elaborate entertainments. Similarly, letters and diaries of the time, such as those by Philip Gaudy, an English gentleman, offer personal insights into the celebration of Christmas. Gaudy's letters frequently mention the preparations and observances of Christmas, revealing not just the grandeur, but also the personal and familial aspects of the festival. From the bustling kitchens, preparing festive dishes, to the lively games and dances, his descriptions provide a colorful and intimate portrait of Christmas in Tudor households. So there you have it, my friends, a little bit on Tudor Christmas. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you festiveness and peace and joy during this season. I appreciate all your listens and support during this year, and I can't wait to do even more next year. But I'm not going to get all sentimental right now. I just want you to know that I appreciate you, and I hope you're having a very wonderful holiday season. And I know for a lot of people, this is a season of sadness and loss, and if you are having a hard time, please reach out to somebody. And you can leave a comment here, and I'll write back to you too. I know this is like a hard time for a lot of people too, and I've been there, and I get it, and I just want you to know that I am thinking about all of you. All right, thank you, my friends, and I will talk with you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, friend. Welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather, and I have been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009, making my show the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel is where I put all of my episodes from all of my shows, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. Today, we are talking about Advent, the Advent season, and how the Tudors would have been celebrating the Advent season. So it is so perfect, you guys. I am so set up with this because it's snowing outside. I don't know if you can see it in the background or not, but there's little flakes. It's not going to land. It's been too warm, but it's snowing. And I've got my hot water bottle right here. Ooh, I love this thing. I bought this on Amazon. And anyway, just put it like that. Or right now I've got it over my lap. It makes my whole table shake. I really love it. And I've got my little Christmas mug with my coffee with peppermint mocha in it. And this is actually, show you, this is a Marks and Spencer Christmas mug because you people in the UK will appreciate this. Marks and Spencer has a deal with our store here, Target. Target's like a, what would you say, like in the UK, like an Asda or something? It's higher. It's like Marks and Spencer, really. Target is. And so they have a deal with Marks and Spencer at Christmas time. not for like their clothes or home goods or anything like that, but just for special treats, Christmas treats. So they have like tins with gingerbread and shortbread cookies and biscuits and things like that. And so there's this little stand in the middle of Targets in one of the aisles that says, gifts from London, and it actually even says on it Marks and Spencer, and there's the London Eye and Big Ben, and it's just like right on there, Marks and Spencer. And I love this. And I used to buy my underwear at Marks and Spencer when I lived in London. They had really good underwear. I don't know if they still do. It's been a long time. But yeah, that's what I remember Marks and Spencer for. This sweater came from Marks and Spencer, not from a Marks and Spencer in England, from a Marks and Spencer in Marbella at the La Cañada shopping center. So there you go. I don't know why I'm talking about all this, but I'm talking about it all. So yeah, I've got the Marks and Spencer sweater, jumper. I've got my Marks and Spencer mug with my coffee. I've got my hot water bottle. It's snowing, and we're going to talk about Advent. So, I mean, if you're here for that, I'm here for that. I'm excited. So, Advent's going to be coming up soon. I'm going to tell you at the end about my Yuletide with the Tudors program, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit. But we're going to talk about how our Tudor friends would have been preparing for Christmas. So the word Advent itself, interestingly, means, preparation or coming. And traditionally in Gaul and Spain in the 4th, 5th century, Advent was a time when they were preparing Christians for the baptisms that would happen at the Feast of the Epiphany, which I thought was really interesting. So it wasn't really about Christmas at all. It was preparing the new Christians for their baptism that would happen later. By the 6th century, I think it was, it started to reach this point of like preparation for Christmas, preparation spiritually, getting your soul ready to celebrate the birth of Christ, all of that. So this was a time for our Tudor friends, much more than today, I think. Although for a lot of people, like at my church, they light the Advent wreath. It's still kind of considered a time of preparation. It was a time of reflection, anticipation, being ready, and what do they call it? Like watchful waiting, marked by unique customs and traditions. The Advent period was also a period of fasting, so you weren't eating meat during that time. And it was about creating a space for the upcoming joy of Christmas. So today we're going to talk about how the Tudors prepared for the festive season and the rituals that shaped their Advent experience. And then if you are curious about bringing a little bit more Tudor history into your holiday season, I'm going to tell you about Yuletide with the Tudors, which is starting next week when Advent starts on December 1st. I can't believe it's almost December. Like yesterday was TudorCon, I swear, in September. But now it's December. Anyway, Advent begins on the 4th Sunday before Christmas, and it was deeply tied to the church calendar. For the Tudors, this was a sacred time focused on penance, on prayer, and on spiritual preparation. It was a chance to reflect on faith and the significance for each person of Christ's birth. Fasting was a major part of the season. Unlike today's lead up to Christmas, where there's like a lot of parties and a lot of indulgence, the Tudors abstained from meat, dairy, and other rich foods during this time. The Advent fast also heightened the sense of celebration when the Christmas feast finally arrived. Imagine abstaining for weeks, knowing that the reward would be these roasted meats, spiced pies, and sugared treats would be waiting for you. And you'd have to be cooking all of that while you were fasting. So I don't know, that seems a little bit like torture, but anyway. So daily life during Advent centered on both personal and communal observances. Many Tudor families would have been attending the regular church services. Prayers and hymns would create a solemn yet hopeful atmosphere. Homes were lit with candles, a symbol of the light that would soon arrive with Christmas Day, the light coming into the darkness. Greenery like holly and ivy would slowly make its way into homes. You would really go out on Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas, a couple days before Christmas, and get all of your greenery. But you'd start to have little sprinklings of it throughout the Advent season. And these evergreens represented hope and renewal, a comforting reminder during the very darkest days of winter. But Advent wasn't solely about self-denial. Charity was a key component of the season. Wealthier households would share food and resources with their neighbors. ensuring that nobody was left out as Christmas approached. Acts of generosity were a reflection of the community's values and faith. While Advent was a time for reflection, for preparing your soul, all of that kind of thing, it was also filled with quiet preparations for the celebration to come. In Tudor homes, the weeks leading up to Christmas were spent transforming the space. Like I said, you'd start to decorate. These decorations, this greenery, is actually symbols of eternal life, and they would provide protection against evil spirits and, the kind of evil in the dark. In the kitchens, the preparations for the Christmas feast were already underway. Ale was brewed, meats had been salted and were being cured. Spices like cinnamon and cloves, rare and precious, were carefully prepared for pies and puddings. The scent of these preparations would fill the home, a tantalizing reminder of the feast that lay ahead. Advent was a season of contrast. The quiet, reflective weeks stood in stark opposition to the joy and abundance of Christmas Day and then the 12 days of Christmas. This balance made the eventual celebration all the more meaningful, a reward for weeks of fasting and patience. Not everybody would wait until Christmas to eat. There's a poem by Robert Herrick that shows that some people were not prepared to wait that long. It says, "Come, guard this night the Christmas pie, that the thief, though ne'er so sly, with his flesh hooks don't come nigh to catch it. From him who all alone sits there, having his eyes still in his ear, and a deal of nightly fear to watch it." So you would have to guard the Christmas pie to make sure that people didn't come and get it before Christmas itself. Reminds me of my child trying to find her Christmas presents before Christmas. Such basic human things anyway. So Advent wasn't just a waiting period. It was a time of small but meaningful rituals that built anticipation for Christmas. Through my Yuletide with the Tudors program, it starts on December 1st, you can explore these traditions day by day, from the significance of fasting to the stories behind the Tudor holiday symbols. The program will help bring you closer to the Tudor experience with daily videos. Get a digital Advent calendar. Every day opens up to a new video with some aspect of Tudor holiday. We go from December 1st all the way through to January 6th. So we do keep the 12 days of Christmas as well. And we still have the early bird price going on. There was a lot of interest in it, so I kept it going. So you can sign up at the early bird price using the code EARLYBIRDYuletide to save $5 and step into your season full of history and holiday magic. So Advent was a cornerstone of the holiday season, shaping the joy and abundance of Christmas Day. From fasting and reflection to charity and preparation, it was a time of quiet meaning that set the stage for the celebration. I will leave you with a quote from Pope Leo the Great on fasting during the Advent season. "What is more effective than fasting, by which we approach God, and resisting the devil, we overcome indulgent vices? For fasting has always been food for virtue. Chaste thoughts, reasonable desires, and more sound deliberations profit from fasting. And our spirit is renewed for moral excellence." So that is why people fasted during Advent. If you made it this far in the video and you enjoyed it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps to feed the algorithm and get this content to even more people. I hope I earned your subscription to my channel, where I put out videos like this on the regular. If you want to keep watching Christmas Tudor content, here is a recent episode I did on the Christmas feast. And here is a video that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. You are deeply loved. I'm so glad I share the planet with you. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will be back soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Hey, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show, making it the original Tudor History Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the festivities of Christmas that came after Christmas. So, living in the US, we do a lot of Christmas prep before Christmas. And then I have so many friends that, they started taking their decorations down on December 26th. And it's like, it's just starting. Why are we taking our decorations down? And I've always kind of thought that intuitively. But then when we lived in Spain,
They keep the 12 days there. Kids are out of school until January 7th. And, it was really magical. And I just saw how wonderful it was. I just can't even tell you how magical it was to have a whole country that was still celebrating Christmas on January 4th and January 5th. And in fact, I remember once looking at Amazon on January 4th and the Amazon in Spain, Amazon.es, and it still had like all of these last minute holiday gifts and everything like that. Meanwhile, looking at the Target website was all full of like after Christmas sales. And um it was just really nice. And since we moved back, I try to keep the 12 days going here, and make it a thing to keep all 12 days of Christmas. But it's a little harder because people go back to school, kids go back to school. And it's like when you're swimming in the water of like Christmas is over, you really have to work to like insulate yourself from that on January 2nd and January 3rd and be like, no, Christmas is still going on. So today we are going to talk about the celebrations that the Tudors had during the 12 days. And I have been dropping more Advent Christmas little sprinkles, Christmas sprinkles in here because I have a program that is launching called Yuletide with the Tudors. And it's a full starts December 1st, goes to January 6th on Tudor Christmas holiday customs and traditions, history, stories, just recipes, all the different ways that the Tudors celebrated Christmas. It's daily video content delivered directly to your inbox through a beautiful Advent calendar. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But let's get into it right now. Hey, if you would like to see more Tudor content in your YouTube feed, why not go ahead and click subscribe so you never miss a video that we put out. All right. If you think that Christmas Day is the grand finale, no, 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 my friend. Christmas Day is just the beginning, especially for the Tudors. The Tudors celebrated nearly 2 weeks of festivities after Christmas, each day packed with unique traditions. From charity and feasting to games and rituals, the post-Christmas season offered new chances to gather, to give, and to celebrate. So we are going to take a look at how the Tudors marked these days beyond Christmas. So let's start with December 26th. On December 26th, Tudor England observed St. Stephen's Day, or what we now know as Boxing Day. This day focused on charity, on generosity, with wealthy households giving alms or small tokens to people in need. It was a day to remember St. Stephen, who was the first Christian martyr, who was known for his care of the poor. Nobles and landowners would often hand out food, coins, or other essentials, emphasizing community and support for the less fortunate. Today, Boxing Day still holds the spirit of post-Christmas gift giving, but for the Tudors, it was deeply intertwined with social responsibility, social hierarchy. We did a video a couple weeks ago on how the Tudors saw civic responsibility and civic duty. And, there was this whole social responsibility for the upper classes, and this fits right into that. This was a day when the highest ranking members of society extended their hand to help others. December 27th brought the feast of St. John the Evangelist, which was a day marked by quieter, more intimate gatherings compared to the Christmas feast. Families came together to share smaller meals and exchange blessings and observe the holiday with a more religious focus. The feast honored St. John, who was known for his writings on love and faith. As part of the celebration, many Tudor households enjoyed a warm, spiced drink called St. John's Love, which is a mulled wine or ale that added a cozy, comforting touch to the day. People still drink it. If you look at like Catholic websites, there's still recipes to make St. John's Love. Maybe you drink it. I would like to know. If you do, leave me a comment and let me know what that's like. I mean, I guess I know what it's like, but I would like to know if you drink it. It was unlike the grand spectacles of Christmas and Twelfth Night. St. John's Day was a simple, reflective day, a moment to recharge during the very long holiday season. For the Tudors, New Year's Day was a major event in the holiday season, marked by one of their favorite traditions, gift giving. Gifts were exchanged on January 1st among family and friends, and especially within the royal court. For Henry VIII and his court, these were not casual exchanges. Gifts needed to be thoughtful, valuable, and ideally impressive. Each New Year, members of the court, nobility, and even close friends of the king presented elaborate tokens, jewels, fine clothing, even custom crafted armor. The gifting tradition extended from the highest noble to the humblest servant, and a failure to give an impressive gift could reflect poorly on the giver. It was a day for showing loyalty and making connections that could last through the rest of the year. Tudor New Year gifting was more than items exchanged. It reflected your social standing, the favor you had at court, and the very intricate web of relationships within the court. If you were somebody higher ranking and somebody lower ranking gave you a gift, your gift had to be more. There was like a whole etiquette around it that was very, very important. This tradition gave New Year's a special, almost strategic significance in Tudor England. Twelfth Night on January 5th was the high point of the holiday season. This marked the end of the Christmas celebrations, one of the most lavish feasts of the year. Twelfth Night revelry included games and music and feasting, with the Lord of Misrule presiding over the chaos. We talked about the Lord of Misrule in a video last week when the social order got turned on its head for a night of controlled mischief, shall we say. Servants and nobility alike joined in with costumes and masks, creating an atmosphere of fun and freedom. Twelfth Night also featured special foods, including a king's cake that held a hidden bean or coin. Whoever found the bean in their slice would be crowned king or queen of the feast, a playful way to bring everybody into the celebration. When we lived in Spain, they still sell in Spain king's rings, although they sell it on January 5th, so you eat it on the 6th, I suppose. We always ate ours on the 6th, but we didn't always know what we were doing either. But it's cool because there were beans baked into the rings as well. And of course, if you got the bean, then it was supposedly good luck for the rest of the year. So that even lives on today in many countries. The night's festivities ended at midnight on January 6th, Epiphany, which was a day reserved for religious reflection to close the holiday on a solemn, meaningful note. Of course, Epiphany, King's Day, marks when the three kings arrived to the manger and recognized Jesus and gave their gifts. So it was a day of really somber reflection and, thinking about the light that had come back into the world in this season of darkness, I suppose. It was so cool in Spain. I really miss it. I've got to go back to spend Christmas in Spain again soon. There would be a parade on January 5th. And, they would still be playing Christmas music. All the local school bands and stuff would go down the main street and play their Christmas songs. They'd throw out candy. There'd be floats. And they would just throw out so much candy, so much candy. I've known this scramble for candy, and, these narrow little lanes. And the kings would arrive on the floats. Each king had their own float, would be throwing out candy. And the kids would all scramble for the candy afterwards. And after each float went by, and, then you'd go to the kings would hold court at a church close by, and you would go and sit on a king's lap and get each kid would get a little gift. And they weren't just like candy canes, like they were like nice gifts. I guess they were donated by places, but anyway, it was like super cool. And then the 6th was when you had your dinner, and that was when most of the kids would have gotten their gifts and everything like that. So that is my story of Christmas in Spain. It's really cool. And it was really meaningful to keep the 12 days the way a Tudor would. And like I said, I try to do that. It's tricky. It's tricky in the US. Really just got to go back to Spain for Christmas. So anyway, the Tudor holiday season was about so much more than Christmas Day. Nearly 2 weeks of traditions, feasting, and community filled their calendar, bringing warmth and connection to the darkest days of winter. So if you want to dive deeper into Christmas traditions and spend the period from December 1st to January 6th really digging in to Christmas and Advent celebrations the way the Tudors would have had it, check out my Yuletide with the Tudors program. There's a link up here. It's, like I said, the full December 1st to January 6th with a beautiful Advent calendar. Every day opens up to a new window with a video like this, but goes into more depth on different aspects of Christmas traditions, stories, what Henry VIII's Christmas was like, particular years, things like that. So it's $29 for the whole thing. I am going to put a coupon code because there's an early bird discount. So I'm going to put that in the comment. You can check that out. And we also have a community where people are going to be sharing their own Christmas things. And then we have a live call on December 14th with the fabulous Brigitte Webster. She's a food historian who lives in a Tudor home and does keep the Tudor Christmas as well. So she's going to walk us through her Tudor Christmas traditions and give us some ideas for celebrations ourselves. So it's going to be so much fun. The holidays can be such a crazy time, and to be able to just kind of have a moment every day to just dig into something you love and explore some history, and that's what it is for me. So I hope it can be that for you as well. So yeah, check it out, and hopefully I'll see you in there. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps feed the algorithm and get our content to even more people. If you want to keep binging Tudor content, here's a video on Tudor Christmas traditions that you can watch, or here's a video YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. You are deeply loved. I'm so glad I share the planet with you. Don't forget to drink your water. I will be back soon. Bye.
Hello, friend, and welcome to the Renaissance English History Podcast, a part of the Agora Podcast Network and the original Tudor History Podcast. I am your host, Heather Tesco, and I'm a storyteller who makes history accessible because I believe it's a pathway to understanding who we are, our place in the universe, and being much more deeply in touch with our own humanity. This is episode, I'm not sure, 262, 261, I don't know, something. And we are going to start talking about, yes, Christmas. It is time to begin talking about Christmas. If you follow my YouTube channel, you will note that on Monday, I put up a video of Christmas traditions, 5 Tudor Christmas traditions. And I said in that video that while I am not someone who has their Christmas decorations up yet, I am still fully in pumpkin spice mode. I will be doing some very special things this Christmas and having some opportunities for you to spend your Yuletide with me. So I'm going to be talking about that more in the next couple of weeks. And yes, that was indeed intentionally vague because it is designed to have you be interested. So you will get more information on that. But in the meantime, I wanted to start sprinkling in episodes and videos on Tudor holiday traditions. So today we are going to talk about the Christmas feast. Food, the swan and the peacocks, and all of the Christmas wonderful foods. Have you started noticing Christmas goodies in your grocery store? I'm sure you have. I have friends in England who sent pictures even about a month and a half ago of some of the Christmas stuff that's out. And I said that I do think one thing about being an American that is a plus is that we have Thanksgiving in here to kind of be a buffer between Halloween and Christmas, because as much as people might like to go directly into Christmas mode, we do have Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is an amazing holiday, and I love it so very, very much. It is my favorite holiday. And so, that kind of keeps us from becoming fully invested in the Christmas food and the Christmas decorations and all of that, because we've got Thanksgiving to plan for. But with that said, we are going to talk about the Christmas feast today that our Tudor friends would have had. And, I was doing research for this Christmas programming that I'm going to be telling you more about. And I was reading about some of these traditional foods that the Tudors would have had with their Christmas dinner. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. And it's just interesting that so many of the foods that we consider part of our Christmas dinners and holiday dinners were actually foods that the Tudors were eating as well. Stuffing and Brussels sprouts were first reported in 1587. There were Brussels sprouts at the Christmas table. And so it's just kind of cool to think that we are still eating some of the same foods at the holidays that our Tudor friends ate. So let us get right into it. Imagine that you are stepping into the grand hall of a Tudor manor home.
It was chilly outside. It's chilly inside. The stone is cold as you walk through into the hall. The air, though, is thick with scents that feel both foreign and familiar. You smell roasted meats and warm spices, the hint of sweetened wine, all blending together to create a heady perfume that fills the vast and decorated space. There are long tables with rich tapestries and fine linens all around, and the place settings all have been carefully set. The act of feasting itself seems to be a ritual. Then there's gleaming silver goblets and golden plate catching the flickering glow of the candles. There's platters piled high with food gleaming in the firelight. Each one looks like its own little work of art, laden with fruits and with flowers. There's musicians in the corner, and there's the buzz of conversation and laughter, and the halls are decked with greenery, holly, ivy, mistletoe, and the warmth of the hearth competes with the chill that is coming through the cold stone walls. It is Christmas Day in Tudor England, a time of pageantry, indulgence, and reverence, all wrapped up into one glorious season. But what is on the menu? Well, that is what we are going to talk about today. Let's journey through this feast together. We will savor each course and each tradition and message that is behind the food, and talk about the meaning and the magic behind the dishes that were on the tables of our Tudor elite friends. We are imagining in this case that we are friends with some Tudor nobles, all right? But first, Advent, the Advent fast. Before you could feast, you had to fast. Advent was a period of fasting and restraint observed with great reverence in Tudor England. Unlike today's lead up to Christmas, which is filled with festive treats and parties and indulgence, the weeks before Christmas were a time for reflection, for restraint, for preparation. Advent was marked by abstaining from certain foods, specifically meat, which made the arrival of the Christmas feast all the more anticipated. Weeks of meals centered around fish and simpler fare built up a sense of longing for the rich foods that would await on Christmas Day. Add to the anticipation, of course, people would have been preparing for the feast during that period of fasting. So you would have been surrounded by all of this meat being butchered, by all of this bread baked, pastries being baked, all the smells, but you were not allowed to indulge until after the Christmas Mass. It is evident, though, that at least if you go by a poem by Robert Herrick, that not everybody was waiting until Christmas Day. There's a poem that says, "Come guard this night the Christmas pie, that the thief, though ne'er so sly, with his flesh hooks don't come nigh to catch it. From him who all alone sits there, having his eyes still in his ear, and a deal of nightly fear to watch it." So you had to watch the Christmas pie to make sure that no one was going to come and eat it before things were ready. Advent wasn't just a matter of religious observance. It was a way of attuning yourself to the season's significance. The fast acted as a spiritual and physical cleanse, a reminder of the humility and the patience that marked the approach to the celebration of Christ's birth. By the time Christmas arrived, the fast had created such a yearning for the meats, sweets, and spiced wines that would soon be on the table. Every dish served during the Christmas feast became a celebration. Each flavor was heightened by weeks of restraint. So the Christmas feast then wasn't just a big meal like it is for us today. It was a reward, a breaking of the fast that had honed the appetites of the diners and infused each bite with a deeper meaning. Let's talk about the meat dishes. At the heart of every Tudor Christmas feast was the centerpiece, grand roasted meats that stood as symbols of status, tradition, and even bravery. These dishes were crafted and presented with an artistry that announced the host's wealth and power before a single bite was taken. We start with the boar's head. Do you still sing the Boar's Head Carol? I still sing the Boar's Head Carol. I think I might be one of the few people who still enjoys the Boar's Head Carol. You should go look up the Boar's Head Carol if you don't know it. But the boar's head was carried into the hall on a silver platter. Its tusks were polished to a gleam, its mouth adorned with a red apple. This wasn't just food, this was a statement. The boar symbolized bravery and strength, embodying the warrior spirit that Tudor society prized. It was garnished with fragrant sprigs of rosemary and bright winter berries. The boar's head was a feast for the eyes, a reminder of the hunt, and an ancient connection to the land and its wild beauty. The ceremonial dish was typically brought in accompanied by trumpets and carols. A jester might be dancing in front. It was a whole parade. It was a whole procession. So there was this whole sense of theater and pageantry that filled the room as the boar's head was brought in. Next would have come the swan, if you were wealthy enough. The swan was only for the very wealthiest of households. It was served whole, sometimes even with feathers carefully reattached for display. The swan was a symbol of nobility. Its pure white feathers were thought to signify grace and purity, qualities that the Tudor court valued deeply. Only the nobility could afford such an extravagant dish, and its presence on the table was as much about showcasing privilege as it was about savoring the taste. The swan's skin might actually be gilded with a thin layer of edible gold, catching the candlelight and casting a warm glow over the table. There's that scene in the Tudors, the end of the season where Anne Boleyn is executed, where Henry VIII digs into a swan. And, it's so symbolic because the swan is just symbolizes this purity, right, that we talked about just now. And there's Henry just like digging into it and just eating it without even thinking about it. And I think it's a really powerful scene. But swan was a dish for the nobles, and it would have been a very, very special dish to have on Christmas. There also might be venison, a prized meat in Tudor England. Venison represented the hunt, marking a man's prowess and connection to the forest. Unlike the controlled elegance of the swan, venison brought the wildness of the forest into the hall, connecting the feast to the cycles of nature and the thrill of the chase. Venison could be served with fruits or sweet sauces, its gamey flavor tempered by rich, spiced gravies that soaked into the tender meat. As the dishes were laid out, the aromas filled the hall, a heady mix of roasted meat, spices, and the subtle tang of herbs and fruit. The scent of venison, seasoned with pepper and cloves, mingled with the earthy rosemary on the boar's head and the faint, smoky richness of the swan. You as a guest would breathe in these aromas as you settle into your place. Each dish would offer a sensory experience before a single bite was even tasted. So imagine settling into your seat, smelling all of these smells. It would have been pretty amazing. If the boar's head and venison were the mainstays of the Tudor Christmas table, the exotic birds were the crown jewels, adding an extra layer of drama and delight. Perhaps no dish encapsulated the Tudor love of spectacle quite like the peacock. Imagine the grand procession as servants carefully carried this prized dish to the table, its iridescent feathers reattached in a dazzling display. The peacock was often presented in full regalia, its skin like the swan gilded with gold leaf, giving it an almost otherworldly shimmer. This was art, and it showed the host's wealth and creativity, and it was placed at the center of the table holding court over the other dishes. But peacock was only one of the many birds that would have graced the Tudor Christmas feast. The array included pheasants, partridges, and capons, each served in splendid variety, often roasted and garnished with fresh herbs and winter fruits. These birds weren't just scattered around the table, they were sometimes layered in the famous Tudor tradition of stuffed birds, which is basically like a turducken, where smaller birds are carefully placed within the larger ones, creating a cascade of flavors and textures when carved. This method was a display of culinary skill, as well as a feast for the senses. So the Tudors had turduckens. Who knew? I always wanted to make a turducken at Thanksgiving, but it seems like an awful lot of work. Have you ever made one? I would like to know. Anyway, in contrast to the rich meats and birds, the feast also would include a fish course, which held a special place in Tudor hearts as a nod to the Advent season. Like we said, during Advent, many people abstained from meat, turning to dishes of fish.
Fish was a lighter fare that complemented the heavier meats and birds, providing a balance. Popular choices included cod, salmon, and eel, prepared with care and often served in sauces spiced with mustard or sweetened with dried fruits and honey. For the Tudors, fish brought a sense of humility to the table, a reminder of the simpler meals that they had eaten during Advent. So in this way, it honored the fast while enhancing the sense of indulgence that marked the Christmas celebration. And just as each big meat dish represented nobility or bravery, fish symbolized devotion and restraint, rounding out the feast in both flavor and meaning. So let's say the savory courses of a Tudor Christmas feast were an expression of power and tradition, and the sweet courses were a display of creativity, wealth, and sheer extravagance. In a world where sugar was a luxury, desserts were more than just a final course. They were a symbol of affluence, crafted to dazzle and impress. The crown jewel of these sweet offerings was the sugar sculpture. Imagine entering the Grand Hall and seeing elaborate castles, animals, and mythical creatures, even entire scenes, all crafted from pure sugar. These sculptures were known as subtleties. They were carefully shaped and painted to perfection, each detail contributing to the illusion. A sugar castle might stand at the center of the table, complete with tiny turrets, miniature knights, and banners that looked ready to wave in an imaginary breeze. Or perhaps a delicate swan, lifelike in form, graced the feast, its neck arched elegantly as if ready to take flight. These sugar creations were unmistakable displays of status. In Tudor England, sugar was both rare and expensive. It was imported from far-off lands that only the wealthiest could afford. To have it molded and colored into a masterpiece was a statement of both the host's wealth and their access to luxury. Subtleties were served at the most important gatherings, marking the occasions as truly special. For the Tudors, presenting sugar was similar to displaying gold, a reminder to the guests that they were in the presence of someone with both power and taste. Among the most popular desserts was marchpane, a type of marzipan crafted from almonds and sugar, molded and often gilded to catch the candlelight. Marchpane could be shaped into everything from flowers to fruits to elaborate crests and coats of arms. Its flavor was sweet and slightly nutty, a delicate treat that almost melted in the mouth. Some marchpane displays were so detailed that they looked more like sculptures than food, and it wasn't uncommon for guests to hesitate before taking a bite, not wanting to disrupt the artistry. There were also spiced fruit pies. They were another favorite, with fillings of dried fruits like figs, prunes, and raisins, sweetened with honey or sugar and spiced with cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. These pies were small, almost bite-sized. Each one packed a powerful punch of flavor. The combination of warm spices and the sweetness of the fruit made for a comforting, festive treat, one that echoed the flavors of the season. There were also sweetmeats, small candies made from sugar and often flavored with rosewater, anise, or caraway. They were delicate little confections, sometimes shaped into flowers or fruits, and presented in bowls or on small trays. Sweetmeats offered a playful finish to the meal, with colors and flavors that added to the visual and sensory variety of the feast. The sweet course was the grand finale of the feast, a final flourish that left guests not only satisfied but also dazzled, their senses filled with the sights, smells, and tastes of a celebration unlike any other. It was the perfect close to a feast that was, in itself, a work of art. The festive atmosphere of a Tudor Christmas feast wouldn't be complete without the warm, inviting sense of spiced drinks that filled the hall. Drinking was as much a part of the celebration as the food, with every cup and goblet raised in toasts to health, good fortune, and the joy of the season. The centerpiece of these traditions was the wassail, a drink as symbolic as it was flavorful. Wassail was a warm, spiced ale or cider, rich with flavors of nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. Traditionally served in a large communal bowl, wassail was ladled into goblets and passed around the table. The very word wassail comes from the Old English toast weshale, meaning be in good health. As each guest raised their goblet, they joined in the communal blessing, wishing health and prosperity for all in the coming year. Wassail wasn't only enjoyed indoors, though. In some places, revelers would take the wassail bowl outside to the orchards, especially on Twelfth Night. They would sing to the trees,
and pour a bit of the spiced drink on the roots to bless them for a bountiful harvest in the new year. This practice was known as orchard wassailing, and it blended ancient pagan customs with Christian traditions. And there are some places in England where they still have orchard wassailing. They also do it in Vermont, apparently. For the wealthiest Tudors, the drinks didn't stop with wassail. You had mulled wines, a popular choice among those who could afford the imported wines and spices. Wine was gently heated and infused with cinnamon sticks, cloves, and orange peels, creating a rich, aromatic beverage that was both comforting and luxurious. This spiced wine, often sweetened with honey or sugar, was served in silver goblets, the warmth of the drink contrasting with the cold of the goblet. The spices were rare and costly, so they were another subtle display of wealth, reminding people of the exotic trade routes that brought such flavors to the English shores. For those who preferred something stronger, mead and spiced ale were also on offer, adding variety to the Tudor drink selection. Mead was made from fermented honey, and it had a sweetness that complemented the spices added to it, creating a drink that was smooth and warming and deeply satisfying. Spiced ale was often brewed with herbs and grains, and it was an everyday drink made festive with added spices and a touch of honey or sugar for sweetness. Both beverages provided warmth and cheer, turning a simple drink into a celebration of flavor. Drinking customs at the Tudor table were as important as the drinks themselves. Guests would raise their goblets in toasts, sometimes to the health of the host, other times to mark the start of a new course, or simply to enjoy the company of those around them. The feast itself was only part of the evening's grandeur. Just as vital was the atmosphere, the music, and the laughter, and the spirit of merriment. A Tudor Christmas feast was an event meant to delight every sense, with musicians playing lutes and harps and drums, filling the room with festive tunes. Minstrels and singers would wander through the hall, adding a lively soundtrack to the celebration, while jesters and acrobats entertained the crowd with jokes, tricks, and daring feats. In many noble households, the Lord of Misrule would preside over the festivities, a chosen reveler who turned the social order upside down, playfully mocking the nobility and creating a world where, for a brief time, roles could be reversed and laughter ruled. The seating arrangements themselves reflected the strict hierarchy of Tudor society. At the head of the table sat the lord and the lady of the manor, flanked by the highest-ranking guests, each position part of the carefully maintained social order. The lower-ranked guests sat further down, each person's place determined by their rank and their relationship to the host. As we step back from the feast, we could almost hear the laughter, smell the spices, and feel the warmth of the Tudor Christmas feast. So we will leave it there for now. As I said, if you would like to celebrate Christmas like the Tudors did, I will have a special program called Yuletide with the Tudors that will be a chance to immerse yourself in these traditions and learn about the history of the holiday and bring some Tudor festivity to your own season. I will share more about that next week and the week after, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that it's coming and start to get you in the holiday spirit. Like I said, I myself am still in pumpkin spice mode. I do not have any Christmas decorations up yet. I wait until after Thanksgiving for that. However, I do allow myself to listen to Christmas music this early. And SiriusXM recently, I guess on November 1st, they release their holiday stations. So I've been having fun going through that. All right, my friend, we will conclude this Christmas feast. Thank you so much for being here. I will be back again next week. And in the meantime, have an amazing week. All right. Bye-bye.
Blow, northern wind, send who may be sweating. Blow, northern wind, blow, blow, blow. Ich hatte Bord in Bauerbriek, dat soll is semlis on sich. Menschful meiden of mich, fair and free to fall.
Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather, and I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show making it the original Tudor History Podcast. So this is going to be something a little different than I've done before, because it's something I've never done before, which is I found this super cool AI tool. I love keeping up with all of the different AI tools that are out there. I know some people have opinions about AI, and I'm not going to debate that. I personally really enjoy keeping up with all of the different AI tools that are out there. So I found this video creation program where you type in text and it will then create the video. Yeah, generate a video. So I decided to combine two things because I've always thought it would be fun to be a filmmaker, but I don't have the skills to be a filmmaker. We'll see if AI has the skills to be the filmmaker or not. I but love Hallmark movies, especially at this time of year. It's like the greatest thing. It's like, you know what's going to happen. You know she's going to find true love. You know that the guy's like, he's like a lumberjack, or, it's just like he owns a Christmas tree farm or whatever. And she's like the girl in the big city who has everything in life except love. And, like it all gets worked out and she finds her love and blah, blah, blah. And I just love everything about Hallmark movies. So I really enjoy watching Christmas Hallmark movies. So I decided to I've long thought it would be fun to make a Tudor Hallmark movie. When I found this program that makes AI videos, I thought, here's my opportunity to make a Tudor Hallmark movie. So I created a 10-minute long Tudor Hallmark movie, and we're going to watch it in its entirety. And I have not actually watched it yet myself. So I'm going to, I made it and I downloaded it, and I'm going to watch it with you. So we're going to watch this together. So I give you a Tudor Yuletide romance, whatever. I'm not really sure what it's called, but whatever it is, I present it to you now. Let's watch it together, okay? All right. So this is 10 minutes long, and oh, it looks very pretty. I'm a Tudor crown, a Yuletide crown, love in Tudor England.
Well, I suppose I should introduce myself. I'm Margaret Brewer, and yes,
There's
that
some
is my
people
real name.
First off, did you see the people with the modern clothing? Look at those people with the modern clothing, and they've got the crazy AI faces. So that's fun. Hilarious.
It's my real name. Fate has a sense of humor, you see, though I'm not sure the joke's always been on me. It's Christmas, 1525,
Whoa, her
and I'm
face.
doing what I do best, brewing ale for London's elite. Here you are, lads, on the house. Can't have our city's finest voices freezing up now,
What's going on with the steam coming from the ale?
can we? God bless you, Mistress Brewer. Your kindness warms us more than the ale.
Mistress Brewer, your Christmas ale is divine. What's your secret?
If I told you, it wouldn't be a secret now, would it? I'd built a life here in London. Successful, yes, but something was missing.
My dear Margaret, why do you insist on toiling in trade when you could be mistress of my estate?
My place is wherever I choose, my lord. Perhaps it's time for traditions to change.
Oh, Margaret, your spirit is admirable if misplaced. You'll come around, I'm sure.
Ah, yes, Lord Edmund Grey, persistent as always and about as welcome as a bout of sweating sickness.
Very
But for all my
festive.
success, there was an emptiness I couldn't quite name. And
The Hallmark movie traditional that always happens. For all my success, there's an emptiness I can't name even here.
that fateful night. News from home, my parents gone, their cottage and struggling brewery in Snowford-on-Thames now mine. A place I hadn't seen since childhood, a place I'd run from, chasing dreams of London's bright lights and opportunities.
Mistress Brewer, an invitation from Snowford-on-Thames, the annual Yuletide Ale Festival.
His outfit looks like it's a couple hundred years later, and her pajamas. Not so sure that those buttons, but okay, maybe. Wait, let me go back. I missed it. I was off.
Snowford-on-Thames, the annual Yuletide Ale Festival. The winner's ale to be served at the King's Christmas feast.
Snowford's Yuletide Ale Festival. I remember the last one I attended, with Father. And just like that, fate had other plans for me. Snowford was calling. But was I ready to answer? To face the past I'd left behind.
Very pretty. Ooh, that's very pretty too. New scene.
Well, here I was, back in Snowford-on-Thames, a place that felt both achingly familiar and utterly foreign, rather like putting on an old dress and realizing it's now 2 sizes too small. Not that I'd know anything about that, of course.
Bless my soul, it's little Margaret Brewer.
Not so little anymore, I'm afraid.
No, indeed. Welcome home, lass.
Oh,
There was a horse coming out of the back of the carriage. I love AI. I love the things it does. Oh my God. Wait.
too small. Not that I'd know anything about that, of course.
Bless my soul, it's little Margaret Brewer.
Look.
Not
there's
so
a
little
horse
anymore,
in
I'm
the
afraid.
carriage.
No, indeed. Welcome home, lass.
Home, was it still? I felt about as out of place as a fish in a meat hall. Oh, Father, what happened here?
Margaret, we heard you were coming. Just trying to tidy up a bit.
Tidy up or tear down? Hello, Thomas, it's been a while.
Are you the ale lady from London? Can you teach me to brew?
Well, aren't you a breath of fresh air? And you are?
I'm Rose. Dad says you used to live here and that you're very clever but also very...
Rose, why don't you go help Mrs. Thatcher with the chickens?
Thomas Thatcher. Still handsome as ever and apparently still able to render me utterly tongue-tied. Some things never change.
So, come to...
There were some weird ghost children in the back. Look at this.
To me utterly tongue-tied. Some things never change.
So, come to sell the old place, have you?
I'm not sure yet. I suppose I should take a look inside first.
It was like stepping back in time. I could almost hear Father's booming laugh, smell Mother's cinnamon buns, and underneath it all that familiar scent of hops and barley. It's a mess, isn't it?
Nothing that can't be fixed with a lot of work. And a miracle or two.
Is that an offer of help, I hear, Thomas Thatcher?
Well, that is... Rose seems quite taken with you, and it would be a shame to see Henry and Elizabeth's legacy sold off to some London merchant.
Well then, I suppose we have our work cut out for us. And just like that, I'd accepted a challenge I wasn't sure I could meet, with the help of a man I wasn't sure I could face. But then again, the best ales often come from the most unlikely ingredients.
That's true. Whoa, who are those people? What's happening?
The Snowford Yuletide Market. It was like stepping into a memory, only with significantly more creaky joints and a lot less pocket money for sweetmeats.
There's more
Well,
modern
well, if it
clothing.
isn't London's finest.
Love the people in the background that have like modern clothes. Look, there's jeans. There's a puffy coat and jeans. All right, I'll stop nitpicking that.
Eats.
Well, well, if it isn't London's finest gracing us with her presence. Tell me, Mistress Brewer, do you even remember which end of a mash paddle to hold?
I assure you, Master Cooper, I'm quite familiar with all manner of paddles. Perhaps I could demonstrate on your backside.
Now, Edwin. I'm sure Margaret's ale will speak for itself at the festival. Though I'd pay good money to see that demonstration. We'll see about that. Good day to you both.
I didn't need your help, you know.
Oh, I know, but I couldn't let you have all the fun.
And there it was. That infuriating grin that made me want to either slap him or, well, let's just say slap him. Brewing, I quickly remembered, is equal parts science, art and slapstick comedy.
You know, in London, do they not teach the difference between a hammer and a saw?
In London, we have people for this sort of thing.
Now it's proper Christmas ale!
Rose, no! Thank you.
Anytime.
And there it was, that moment, the one where your heart stops and you think, oh, there you are, I've been looking for you. Terrifying, really. It turns out you can go home again. You just might need a few wizened old women to show you the way, and possibly rescue you from botched batches of ale that smell suspiciously like old socks. Ah, the Yuletide feast. Where the wine flows freely, the gossip flows even more freely. And I find myself in a dress that's entirely too tight. Honestly, I'm not sure which is more suffocating. the corset or the company.
Margaret, dear, don't you look lovely? And where's that handsome Thomas? I hear you two have been quite busy at the brewery.
It's not what you think, Agnes. We're just...
Just what, Margaret?
Oh, Lord. Was he always this handsome? Surely not. I'd have remembered that, wouldn't I?
Shall we give them something to really gossip about?
Why, Mr. Thatcher, are you suggesting we cause a scandal?
I'm suggesting we dance.
I should warn you, I have 2 left feet, and they're both exceptionally clumsy.
Then I'll just have to hold on tight, won't I?
It was like something out of a dream. A wonderful, terrifying dream where I suddenly remembered I'd forgotten how to breathe.
Dad, Margaret, look, mistletoe.
Oh, Rose, you little matchmaker.
Well, we can't disappoint her, can we?
And there it was. The moment I realized I was in deep, deep trouble. And I didn't mind one bit.
Margaret, my dear, surprised to see me?
About as surprised as I'd be to find rats in a cellar.
I've come with wonderful news. I've secured the King's approval for our union. We can be married by 12th night.
What? Oh, that was the guy from London, the Lord guy from earlier? What? He looks different. That's funny. Okay.
That is, Lord Grey, I never...
Never agreed to...
Details, my dear? Now, where can a man get a decent ale in this quaint little village?
Right here, my lord. Unlike some, I've been brewing ale all my life, not playing at it in London.
And just like that, my little Yuletide dream turned into a nightmare. Funny how quickly things can change. Rather like ale, actually. One minute it's sweet and intoxicating, the next it's gone horribly sour. Oh, Thomas, if you only knew. If I only knew. What a bloody mess. You know, in London, goats know their place, and it's not in my brewery, destroying my last hope of salvaging this mess.
Me.
Don't you meh me, you woolly menace. This is all your fault.
Talking to livestock now, are we? How quaint. My dear, I've come to make you an offer. I'm prepared to buy this entire charming little village, the brewery, the cottages, all of it. Of course, this is contingent on you accepting my proposal. Think of it as a wedding gift.
You can't be serious.
Oh, but I am. You have until tomorrow to decide. Either way, I'm sure the King will be most interested in my new property holdings.
My dearest Margaret, if you're reading this, it means you've finally come home. Remember, my love, that the finest ales aren't brewed with just hops and barley. They're brewed with heart, with passion, with the love of home and family. You've always had that within you, even when you couldn't see it. Trust in that, and you'll never go wrong. Oh, Mother, how did you always know? Right then, enough wallowing. Time to brew an ale that would make you proud. Good people of Snowford, I need your help. We have one day to brew an ale that will save our village and show those London knobs what real Christmas spirit tastes like.
Bit early for a revolution, isn't it?
Early? Huh! In London we'd have started 3 hours ago and already be on our second pint. That's it! Stir that mash, mind those hops, and for the love of all that's holy, keep that goat away from the barley.
Brought some of those special herbs you asked for.
Thomas, you're a lifesaver. I could kiss you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. The ale that will be served at the King's Christmas feast is Margaret Brewer's Snowford Yuletide Spice.
People of Snowford.
But, like, did you see the person changed literally midway through? First he was that, and then he changed.
The ale that will be served at the King's Christmas feast is Margaret Brewer's Snowford Yuletide Spice.
People of Snowford, I came here thinking I'd save this brewery. But the truth is, you've saved me. You've reminded me what truly matters. Community, tradition, and love.
Neon sign. Did you see that neon sign at the end? Look, so funny. Oh my goodness. How funny. That doesn't really look, and all of the colored Christmas lights don't really look authentic, but whatever. We won't nitpick too much. So there you go, guys. That is my my Hallmark Tudor movie created by AI. What do you guys think? I mean, it has all of the makings of a good Tudor Hallmark movie, doesn't it? We've got the girl who's successful. We've got a villain who wants to marry her and buy the town. We've got Thomas the Thatcher. I tell you what, I'm not saying Oscar worthy. The acting left a little bit to be desired, but I think that could really go somewhere, don't you? Yeah. All right. Well, here we are. If you enjoyed that, why not leave me a like and let me know? That was fun, wasn't it? Oh, that was a fun thing. That was fun. You had fun. All right. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. All right. Thank you so much for watching, friend. We will be back again soon with actual history and not AI generated Tudor Hallmark movies. All right. Have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll talk to you later.